So, what is the day? It's Sunday, March the 9th. I think it's the 9th. Sunday the 9th.
Yeah.
And we are in the habitat in Mill Creek Sink.
Probably one of the longest running habitats on the team.
Yeah, this box has been here for a while. It was an early one, and then we ended up taking it out and putting it back in again. But it's been pretty reliable. It has not leaked, which is really good. So it stayed in. It's been several. Must have been around 2010. Maybe 16 years. This one.
That's pretty good. I think I remember. Not to go on a side discussion here, but I think I remember you telling me Brett had painted this frame.
No, I painted the frame.
You painted this frame?
I painted this frame. Yeah,
okay.
I've got pictures. My kids were really little, painting it. My God, and they were really little. They're 17 and 15 now, and they were toddlers. So it was it was a long time ago.
I remember the discussion the first time I got in here with you, which probably a year and a half ago, and you made the comment about how you guys had designed it, with how you had cut it.
Yeah.
Because I remember telling you how horrible the other ones are, where they had just cut the bottom out.
Yeah.
And your comment about you could learn a few things from the guys that have been around a while. I'm paraphrasing, but there's something you said about that. It's like, they should have called us. We'd have told them how to do it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe we could have avoided them making the same mistakes we made.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think we've actually got some pretty nice habitats. The one at Phantom is really nice. The new one at Wiki, I can't wait to use. That's going to be so nice. If we ever actually get enough rain to make it diveable.
Think positive.
Yeah, we need a really wet summer. We went to the back of the upstream today, took the data sonde. I wanted to have a look at see what the water quality was in all the various source tunnels that are back there. You know, there's when the main passage kind of finishes, there's a deep, silty, low passage that goes on more or less at the same 230-foot depth. And then another passage cuts back on itself. That really beautiful one you took, you took pictures with Kirill, and then that twists around on itself. I call that Mosley's Meander.
Oh, is it?
John Mosley gave us the tip-off for the upstream years ago. So that's Mosley's Meander, and it's got all those really sculpted bits of rock in the. It looks like bones on the floor, doesn't it?
I told Kirill about it. I still think it's about the prettiest section of cave.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, we went right back at the end where it splits into two and goes into two very low tunnels, which are basically, you're going to be grinding through black silt, getting in them. So I wanted to get the data sonde in there, really to see if the one on the right we pushed for maybe 100, 150 feet, something like that. See if that is the same water as is coming out the other one, and that way it'll give us an idea of whether they might come back together. And I stuck it in there's also just before obviously there's the very terminal bifurcation, and then there's the one between the deep and the shallow passages. Well, just before the cave takes a hard right, there's another source passage on the left, which I think Matt and Charlie and I have been in, and that's basically impassable. But again, it'd be interesting to see if that's the same water. So I got a sample from that, and then on the way back, looked at that lead we were thinking of looking at, over and under. So where I think it was Bob Schulte originally laid that line, and it goes up, and you think the passage is split, and there's one bit goes under and one bit goes over. Well, a few dives ago I realised that the underneath bit actually never came back into or at least that I could see, came back into the upper bit. So I always kind of had that in my head as something to go and look at. So we did that today, and it's small. It's still going. I got to a point where there are all these kind of little stalactite-like projections in the ceiling, which I could push past. It would probably break them off. But then it gets a little taller and a little wider, but it takes a left there as well. So it may come back into the original passage anyway. It's not done, but I have a sneaking suspicion it's just a loop.
the one where you went under.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's probably just a loop. But again, I have the data on with me, so we'll see if the water's the same, and that's the beauty of it. We'll get some real data to know whether that's the case.
Well, you had me bring the smaller
little one, yeah.
So you can get a comparison. You were mentioning about that as well.
I'd like to point out as well that this was an injury-free dive. I mean, I think there was
we have a solid hour left.
No major head injuries. Well, we have a while to go, yeah, but no major head injuries, no penetrating trauma, no major blood loss today. So yeah, basically a pretty successful dive. Yeah.
I'm sure you noticed I was a little bit slower pace. On the way out, I can tell you we're having none of that, and you just took off.
I know. Well, once it got a little bigger, you were definitely moving. On the way in, and so I just thought I would pay you back on the way out.
Well, as we went under the part that I had to give a little tap. Yeah.
I might have that on my head camera, so if I do, I'll cut it into this video because it'd be nice. Because I was going, watch out, be careful. It's a really sharp deck. If you wanted to injure your head in a cave, that would be perfectly designed to do it. Yeah.
Even if you didn't want to.
Exactly.
You know, I've seen it several times. I don't even know how many times I've been in here, but I've seen it multiple times. And I thought, oh, that's a bad day waiting to happen. I just didn't know it was going to be. I didn't know it was going to be for me. Well, these things happen. And then we managed to get a few bottles taken away.
Yeah.
Ken and his students were nice enough to fill
Yeah,
the pool.
that was very nice of them. I can't actually remember their names now.
Rudy and Lauren.
Rudy and Lauren.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah. So thank you very much. And Brian Kelly for helping us out moving stuff down this morning.
Yeah. Hopefully he's selfishly. I hope he's there when we get back. There's still a few cylinders left to take up those stairs. Yeah. All
right. Otherwise, I had a very nice dive. I stayed warm and dry, and it was very pleasant. Very pleasant.
I'm curious. I know you've told me a couple of times. Have you ever shared the story of the lead here, like for anybody else to hear it?
Maybe, but I'll tell you again.
Right.
So I think actually Brett may have told the story. I think John Mosley was in hospital. He was getting a pacemaker, so he's died now. John Mosley was one of the explorers in here many years ago, and he gave Brett this tip off that there was. The upstream was still going, and so we came here, and Brett and I, and this was 2008 or 2009, something like that. And anyway, we went to where it drops down to that deeper level, and you know how you come through that double kind of section, get down to that bottom level, and the line at that time just continued around to the right, what Brett called the merry-go-round, and I was looking over to the left, and I could see a jump to the left, and I looked at my compass and I could see, well, to the left was east and Brett was going south and back to the west, and I thought that's not really the way we want to go, so I jumped the gap and then started swimming along this bit of line, followed it, you know how it goes into that little T, and I got to that little, it actually one piece of line had ended, so I pulled them together to make that T, and we've improved it since. I basically pulled the two lines together, and then and there was still line going to the east, so I followed it, and I went around a couple more corners, and it ended just in wide open passage. There's still a cookie there, actually. I don't know who left that cookie. Somebody left that cookie, but that cookie is basically where we started exploring. And so I looked around for Brett, and he wasn't there, so I pulled out my reel and just started swimming, and I was going passage, and every now and again I'd look behind me and see if I could see him, and it wasn't until about 15 minutes later that I saw this blue glow behind me and Brett swimming after me. It's like, what's picking up? And yeah, he caught me out. And then we came back another time and added another, I think that time we added 800 or 900 feet, and then we came back another time, added a similar amount, with the infamous, in between though, had been the infamous Bob Schulte incident he finally owned up to, where somebody had come and scooped us. And I think, and when Brett and I went back in, we came across this line, we took a different route, and came across this line in the cave somewhere there was had no right to be any line. There was just no way there could be any line there unless somebody had scooped us. We couldn't have connected to anything, and I think that might have been the greatest concentration of underwater expletives anybody has ever uttered. I was effing and blinding and trying to, and I could not understand what had happened. I think that's my light.
Yeah, powered down.
Yeah, powered down. But yeah, it was. So we laid. I think we basically doubled the length of the upstream. We laid about 1,600 feet all told upstream, and then ended in that place where we dropped the scooters today. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't really until I got a side mount rebreather that I was able to go further. Mm-hmm. And the deeper one as well, is actually, you can back mount that a little way as well, but even so after that it gets side mount. And that one actually ends in this little fissure, which then is still going, but it's really tight at the end, and it would be a very committing move to drop down out of the fissure into the little bedding plane beyond where the water's coming from. It'd be very committing to do that, and you're right down at 240 feet, mm-hmm. and you've got a lot of twisty small passage to come back through, so yeah. You would be risking tearing hoses and all sorts of things. So. Anyway, I can feel that the CO2 is all this hot air, mm-hmm. all this talking, the CO2 is coming up in here, so we probably better turn the scrubber back on and sign off.
Thank you for the story.
No, you're welcome, and we'll see you next time.